All right, so we are live. Yes, we are. It is Second Cup of Coffee. I'm Jason.
I'm Pili.
And today will be a great show. We guarantee that because, well, why not? I got my shoes on, my boots on here.
I got my shoes on.
Pili has shoes on here. I was trying to figure out this dynamic, but yeah, we're doing good here.
Somehow I'm
so
today.
It's about time to get started. We got a great topic today, and let's do this. All right, so it's Second Cup of Coffee. I'm Jason.
I'm Pili.
And today we are talking about
the best time to start a new venture is ...
So the easy thing would be say now.
Yes.
But I'm going to go against that.
Okay.
It's because it would be to make sure you know why you want that venture. Mm-hmm. And we had a coaching call today, and ultimately it was the goal was there, but the reason why the goal was wanted was not. Mm-hmm. And that can leave really an unsatisfied feeling. If potentially you get to that goal, it might not be what you want, right? So ultimately, the venture would have to be, what is the use of this venture? How is it going to help me and help others around us? Because many times we'll do something and we think, our venture's our idea, best idea in the world, right? It's the best thing that's ever happened.
Best ever.
And
everything. I've
come up with the greatest idea of the 7 billion people on this planet. Somehow I figured it all out. But we forget, well, what are other people going to think about this idea? What are they going to get to it? Like if there's customers, like what does the customer get? What do they experience from this?
Who are you trying to serve?
Who are you trying to serve? So the venture has to have some level of productivity where it's not only just you having your great idea that everybody's going to succumb to, and maybe you do, but where is this going to fit in the rotation of the universe where it's going to help others around you? And if you can answer that, and what is that going to provide for you doing this? How are you going to be able to benefit yourself and others doing this venture? And that's really one of the thought processes. You can make a systematic, we'll say, approach to the process. Choice. Yeah. So choice would be good because we do at points have to go out there on a limb and try, right? So it's you may want to say, okay, I'm good at something, so let me see if I can use this to create the next X, right? So we just listened to the famous Dave's guy awesome. on how I made this. I forget the podcast.
How I made this.
Yeah, awesome podcast, right? But it just there's so many levels of that were so interesting, and just the way that he was able to adapt from venture to venture to venture. And he had actually done something very big, and he's Native American, and he had actually done something very big to help Native Americans scale on gambling and casinos. And he just found that wasn't fulfilling. So he just started cooking barbecue, and he had done that for years. That's how his family had grown up in this part. And many times we have that love, and that love doesn't mean we're going to be good at business, right? Just because you can bake, and I'm forgetting the book that goes with this part, but just because you're good at baking doesn't mean you're going to be great at having a bakery. Just because you're good at numbers doesn't mean you're going to make a great accountant. But what it can be is like, if that's a fulfilling life, how you can help others in a point, then maybe you're going to find a way to make it work. But if you just like making the bagels, and now or like making muffins or whatever you're doing there, and now all of a sudden you forget about all the dynamics of having a brick and mortar structure or doing online sales or doing X, well, then the ultimate fulfillment of why you love it in the first place is not going to fully reach what you want.
So in this whole thought process, I keep on thinking about our coaching programs, both our multifamily formula and Fit Rich Life. And both of them have the foundations of exactly what you're talking about. We don't jump into real estate in multifamily formula. And we also don't jump into like, let's get down and give me 20 for Fit Rich Life.
Yeah.
We set a foundation, and we're all about setting a foundation, even within ourselves. We have to set a foundation of inwardly, why do we want to get into this venture? Why do we want to be more healthy? Why do we want to be fitter, richer? Why do we want to get into large multifamily? And then how is this going to help? Who is our customer? Who are we trying to serve ultimately by creating a better path for ourselves, a better foundation for ourselves? Who are we trying to serve? And having that foundation in any venture is actually the answer to this question. When is it the best time to take action? Yes, we always want to say now. Now is the time to take action. But with that action, you need to start with the steps. You need to start with the foundation of the why. Or as Jason said, it won't feel right. It won't have a solid base. It won't have a solid foundation. And having that foundation is everything. So when is it the best time to start a new venture? When you have a solid base to start it on.
And that could just be having a few questions and answers identified, right? And so having a few questions and answers. So what is my philosophy? What is my pitch? What is the thing I'm going to provide? How is this going to help others? And what is going to be the route to success for me? And at least on that part, then you can go out there and start having and testing, right? You can start testing your venture to say, okay, because many times we think that it has to be perfect from the start, but rarely everything's perfect from the start. What it is and what it can be is a great way to learn what doesn't work. And that can be more important than knowing what works, right? Because if you learn what doesn't work, and it can help you really eliminate what you don't want to do again, right? So knowing what doesn't work, constantly finding out what doesn't work leads you to what does work. For example, when picking a market to invest in for multifamily, you don't want to go out there and test out trying to invest in 10 different markets just because you're going to be the master of nothing. But if you can really dive in on one market and learn all the ins and outs, the good neighborhoods that have the blue collar working class housing, the neighborhoods that are dense, that have path of progress, that have a growing population, that has a moderate household income, and you say, okay, this is the area of this city that I'm going to focus on. Well, you may find in 3 months that ultimately, it's not the right city for me. However, when you go to that next city, you've already identified how to target areas in a city to go after. And so now you can do that instead of trying to learn that across 10 cities at the same time. We'll do that with you and your venture. What is it that you're looking to source here? How is that going to help you and help others? And what are those pieces that I'm going to track my success against? And that's how you can go out there and really choose if you do want to go after this venture, because it may sound great, may sound like a great idea, may even look okay on paper, but until you really think it through, know if you want this and see if you can see yourself doing this for 2, 5, 7, 10 years, will you really know if this is going to be the right route for you?
So if there's any way Jason or I can help you, please text us. It's 908-224-6876. Again, it's 908-224-6876. And guess what? We just shipped out the first, I think it was 32 books this morning of our pre-orders for our book. So if there's any way we can help you, text book to us and we will send you all the information on how to get our book, Fit Rich Life. Do it and do it now. Text us 908-224-6876.
Thank you, guys. We will see you tomorrow.
Do, 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 do.